As we look at page 4, I just want us, this is the second page of the homework that I didn't have you do yesterday because I just want to kind of talk this through. How would I complete this graph if it's an odd function? Do you guys remember what happens with the x-coordinate every time? X-coordinate always is negative. In an odd function, what happens to the y-coordinate? It's also negative. So what would this point turn into? Love it. Let's go plot it. -1, -2, boom. We're on page, okay. What would this point turn into? -2, -1. And then finally, what would this point be? Thanks, Blake. -4, -4. Then if I were you, I would just go connect those points. Does it look like we rotated that 180 degrees? This one says, hey, complete the graph so it's an even function. Even functions reflect right across that y-axis. So the x's always change sign. What happens to the y on an even function? Stays the same. Thanks. What would this point turn into?
-1, 2.
Perfect, Mateo. -1, 2. What about this point?
-2, 1.
Yes. Finally, 4, 4. -4, 4. And we're going to just go whoop. Complete this graph so it's neither even nor odd. What might we want to do?
1, -2.
1 negative. Ooh, okay. He's like, I'm going to go 1, -2. He's going to do some method to his madness. Could we just do anything?
Yeah.
You know, I'm good with anything that just is not a rotation or a reflection. Anything. But I like your thought, Bob. You're like, I'm going to change just the y, not the x. Okay. The last thing I wanted to do is talk about these when we've got some insane exponents. We're going to practice this a lot this year because we got to be good with these with AP Calc. Does anyone know how I'd rewrite that as a root?
5. The 5th root.
Yeah, this is the same as the 5th root of x. And that might not help us at all because when we go prove these as even or odd, I actually want us just to say, all right, if I plug in a negative to my original, I really have negative x to the 1/5. And how we got to remind ourselves, this is really x to the 1st power and the 5th root. It always goes power over root. Can I have the 5th root of a negative number? Could I have, okay, let me back this up. Let's say that we're talking cube root of -8. What's that? -2 because -2 times -2 times -2 gets me -8. You guys, when that exponent is odd, you can take the root of a negative. So what do you think this would simplify to be? The 5th root of a negative is going to be that negative x. Agreed. So this is going to end with that negative x to the 1/5. Did I get what I started with? No. Did I get the opposite? Yeah. So you guys, let's write. Got to practice with Blake. You know what I'm saying? People got to make sure he's okay with this. We plug in a negative x. We get the opposite of what we started with. Therefore, it is odd. And if I showed you what that graph looked like, if I graphed it, it looked like this. Boop. If I rotate that 180 degrees, it's the same graph. That's why that one's going to be odd. What's the difference on this one? What's my power on this one versus my root? 2nd power. So let's go say, all right, if I plugged in a negative here, I'd have a negative x to the 2nd power, 5th root.
That won't work.
What's squaring a negative going to do?
Give us an imaginary number.
No. Negative, what's -4 squared? That means -4 times -4 is positive 16. So a negative x squared is going to get me a positive x. So squaring it will get rid of my negative. Did I get what I started with?
Yes.
Cool. So when I plugged in a negative for my x, I got what I started with. I got, meaning equals, f of x is what I started with. Therefore, it's even. Let me show you what x to the 2/5 looks like. Looks like a bird. What's up, Tay?
why didn't like the fraction come in when determining like
Yeah, good question. The only thing that's really going to determine it is the power. So the power, so this is saying take this negative x to the first power. It would still say a negative. Can I take an odd root of a negative number? And I can, because it's odd, just like this right here.
yeah.
This power squared makes it a positive. Can I take a fifth root of any positive number? I can.
Okay.
Yeah, good questions. Okay, meaning I'm going to get us rulers. But if I wanted you to graph y equals x nicely, not just a sketch of it, where would we start? Origin, and then my slope is up 1 over 1. I want a really nice line because we're going to use these for the rest of the chapter. So we've got y equals x looks like this. Absolute value of x, ring a bell to anybody? X squared is a parabola. Absolute value, let's let our calculator help us then.
It's like a V.
It is a V, but if you want your calculator to help you, everybody, we could go to y equals on your calculator.
Dang it, I didn't
Math. We can do the math, right arrow, enter. So I just went math, right arrow, enter on my graph. Absolute value of x, boom, is that V. Just like you said, Ritz, we got a slope of 1 on the right, a slope of -1 on the left.
Wait, which one was it?
Math, right arrow, enter for abs. 4x squared, I want us to plot perfect points. So what if we were to do trace? I want us to feel good with that trace function. What's the first x coordinate we want to try? When x is, what? 1? Okay, 1, enter. So go hit trace. Blake, do what I'm asking, please. Trace 1, enter. See what point it gives you. 1, 1. So then we can go plot it. What's another point we want to do? 2. Gives me the point 2, 4. What's up, Beck?
I'm from stats and scatter plot.
Oh, yeah. -3, 9. So we did trace 0 tells you that we got the point 0, 0. And then, Beck, you can just hit -1, enter. Tells me I got the point -1, 1. -2, enter. -2, 4. So it just gives you these points so we can graph a nice, accurate graph. Guys, as we look ahead at square root of x, when I go graph square root of x, I'm going to have a lot of ugly points when I do trace. Let's pick some x values that make it prettier for us. Can I have the square root of 0? Let's see. Trace 0, enter. So give you a point there? Nice, dude. Do you agree they give you the point 0, 0?
Yeah.
What's another x I could put in? What if I did the square root of 1? Oops. What if I did trace 1? What is going on? Okay, trace 1. Can I have the square root of 1? Yeah, square root of 1 is 1. What if I did this trace 2, enter? I don't want to plot that. Do I know the square root of 2? No. Do I know the square root of 3? No. Do I know the square root of 4?
Yes, it's 2.
Yeah, square root of 4 is going to get me 2.
It's essentially x squared, but flipped on.
Exactly.
On the
Reflected
x-axis.
over y equals x, yeah. What would be the next x I want to try? Square root of 9 is, so that just helps me get some accurate points.